If you're moving to Boston this year and your big concern is the housing market, what's going on in real estate, what's happening with COVID, is there going to be any sort of pullback, slowdown, or a crash? Those are all very valid questions, and I'm going to answer some of those in this video. So let's get into it. Hey there, welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the Live in Boston channel. My name is Jacob Peistrup. Glad to have you. And real quick, before I get into this video, if you're someone who is moving to Boston, you're relocating, and you want some help with that process of buying a house, buying a condo, signing a lease in this city, especially with this crazy real estate market, get in touch, send an email, send a text, whatever works for you. Let's get in touch. Let's get that conversation started so we can hopefully get you here to Boston. I am a real estate advisor here in Boston and absolutely love getting to share this beautiful city, answering questions from buyers, and working with clients who reach out to me through the YouTube channel. That is by far my favorite part of my job. So if I can do anything at all and you'd like to work together, let's get in touch. Now, first question you're probably wondering, is the housing market still going? Are people moving to Boston? Are people leaving Boston? What's going on? Are we being flooded by people from California? Not exactly, it's too cold for that here. But overall, the housing market in Boston absolutely is still moving. It is a fast-paced and rapidly moving market here in 2022. And it really has been since 2020, thanks to COVID. After that rebound from the first, panic with COVID, it's really been a fast-paced and moving market. So things are moving, things are still going. It is a popular time to be buying and selling in the Boston market and really in a lot of cities across the country. And, working with a lot of relocation buyers, I work with people from the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast. It's not, a ton of people from California. We get people from all over the place, and especially internationally. Boston is a very international city. The international borders just got opened up, so we've had a lot of clients, from other countries who are interested in Boston and other parts of the US, I will say. And then as far as the question of urban exodus, are people fleeing to get out of Boston? What's going on? There definitely has been, an uptick in the suburbs since COVID. So the suburbs are where things are going very fast. The market is very fast paced. The city, that still applies. That still is the case in Boston, but it's not as exaggerated as what you will see in the suburbs. So, the urban condo market is still going, don't get me wrong, but it's not as crazy as what we've seen in the suburbs, without a doubt, where things have been, hectic, crazy, bidding wars and competition. We've seen that in the city, don't get me wrong, but it's just not on the same level as what it has been in the suburbs of Boston when you compare that to the city of Boston. I mean, universities are open, doing in-person classes, the rise of working remotely. Lots of people are still moving into the city of Boston, but a lot of people are also choosing to live in the suburbs, further away from the city, where you get, a bigger house for less money. In both cases, the city and the suburbs, there is a lot of stuff going on in the housing market. And especially when you compare the condo market to the single family market. The condo market has been, very steady and consistent. A little bit of a slowdown during the winter time, and then, an uptick again during the spring and summer, but that's much more exaggerated with single family houses. So we see a lot more houses coming on the market in that spring and summer market compared to the slower months during the winter time. And that's because sometimes there's a lot more that goes into listing a house versus a condo. Sometimes it takes more work. So for my clients who are selling houses, not condos, a lot of them are choosing to wait until the weather is a little bit warmer, just because they can do the landscaping, they can open up the pool, they can clear out storage space, and just take care of a lot more maintenance and repair items, especially on the exterior, give it a fresh coat of paint, that kind of stuff, which is why a lot of people wait till the spring and summertime with houses, not as much with condos. So there's much more of an inflow of single family houses in the spring and summer compared to the winter time, whereas condos are more steady. It's not as dramatic of a change as what we see with a single family. And as far as the question of, is it still crazy competitive? Is it still tough for buyers in this market buying a house or buying a condo? And the answer is it truly depends these days. You know, it depends on the time of year, depends on the location, the neighborhood, the price point, the quality of the interior and exterior. There's a lot that really plays a role. But, you know, if you had asked me a year ago, a year and a half ago, the same question, I would have given you more of an across-the-board answer saying, yes, it's competitive and it's tough for buyers. These days, it really depends. You know, sometimes buyers do have negotiation power, more so than you'd think. Sometimes it still is pretty tough, so it really depends these days. And a lot of buyers I work with are pretty well informed about the market. Maybe from the YouTube channel, I have no idea. But a lot of buyers already have a good grasp of what's going on. So a lot of people already recognize it's low inventory, high price. There's overall pretty few houses for sale on the market. But what a lot of people don't actually realize is that there are, yes, obviously record low number of houses for sale, record high prices, but there's also a record high of number of houses being sold on a consistent basis. And what I mean by that is if you look at a particular neighborhood or a suburb, yes, there might be like 3 or 4 houses for sale right now. But if you look at the last year, there might be 200 to 300 sales more than what was normal a couple years ago, which means that more houses are being sold per year than they were pre-COVID. So we're seeing a decent number of houses coming on the market. They just don't stay on the market very long. So that's the thing. So if you lose out on a house or an opportunity, yes, I completely understand that is frustrating. It can be devastating and just heartbreaking, especially when you lose out on an offer and it's competitive. But I promise you, if you wait 2, 3, or 4 weeks and just watch the market, you will see a lot of new options that come on. They just don't stay on there very long. So that's kind of my one piece of advice to my buyers when stuff doesn't go as planned is that, yes, I know that it is extremely frustrating to have that situation happen to you. But what I will say is that if you wait a little bit longer, you will have more options than you ever would have had 3 years ago because more stuff is coming on the market than it was pre-COVID. The issue then is that it just doesn't stay on the market very long. So you have a lot of stuff coming on the market, but they go under contract very quickly. So if you don't act fast, you will lose out on opportunities like that. So I understand it is very tough to navigate a low inventory market as a buyer, but the market is not standing still whatsoever. It is moving, it is turning over, lots of stuff is going on, and there's lots of activity, which means more opportunities if you can't find something you like, or if you find something you like and it just doesn't work out. So that's the one thing I will say, things are moving very quickly. So turnover is very high these days, and if you don't see something you like this week, give it another week or two and you might find something you actually like that comes on the market. Now, as far as trends and predictions for the rest of 2022, what do I think is going to happen? I think it's very likely we still will be dealing with a shortage of inventory. Now, don't get me wrong, there's going to be an inflow of inventory in the spring and summertime. Our clients are getting ready already for that summertime market. But the question is that new inventory going to be enough to meet demand? That's the tough thing, and that's the thing where we're not really sure right now as far as which way it's going to go. And that's what happened last year during that spring and summertime. There was a huge uptick in new listings and new inventory on the market. So it helped, satisfy that demand, but demand is still very strong these days. And every time it seems like we're getting to that light at the end of the COVID tunnel, something else happens. There's a new variant, the Omicron, stuff like that. I mean, this is the second time I've had COVID in the last 2 years. First time I had it was 16 months ago before the vaccine. I've now had 2 vaccines and a booster, and I am just getting out of my second round of quarantine with COVID. And it begs the question of, is there going to be new restrictions, new implementations of law and policy? And if so, how is that going to impact the real estate market? Is it going to force it to slow down, or are things going to continue speeding up within the housing market? I don't have the answers to that, unfortunately, but if I did, trust me, I would be screaming it from the rooftops. But overall, there is a lot to watch for in 2022 and a lot that I am going to be keeping my eyes on in the real estate market here in Boston. So again, if you are moving to Boston and relocating here and you want some help with that process of buying a house, buying a condo, or just navigating this unprecedented real estate market, send an email, send a text, whatever works for you. Let's get in touch, let's set up a call together, go from there and see what I can do to help you move to Boston. Again, I absolutely love the reach outs that I get from the YouTube channel and the clients that I get to work with. So thank you for watching. That is gonna wrap it up for today on the Living Boston channel. I will see you in the next video. Hope you take care, have a great day, and I'll catch you next time.